The road to Kurukshetra, exile, vows, and gathering storms. The aftermath of the dice game. The dice game left the court of Hastinapura poisoned. Draupadi's humiliation echoed across Bharatavarsha, staining the Kuru name. The Pandavas, bound by the cruel terms of the wager, departed for 13 years of exile, 12 years in the forests, and 1 year to live in concealment. For Duryodhana, it was triumph. For Karna, it was both victory and burden. He had stood by Duryodhana, his words sharp against Draupadi. He had helped secure the exile of his greatest rivals. Yet, as the Pandavas disappeared into the wilderness, unease stirred within him. Have I gone too far? Or is this the path fate has written? But to Duryodhana, Karna showed only loyalty. His friend's triumph was his triumph. His friend's war was his war. Karna's vows. During this time, Karna's reputation grew. Known as Danvir Karna, the generous one, he gave without hesitation to all who came before him gold, land, jewels, even his own belongings. No supplicant left empty-handed. Yet one vow bound him more tightly than any other. I shall not refuse a gift to anyone who comes to me, even if it costs me my life. This vow, noble in spirit, would one day become the seed of his undoing. For destiny, cunning and cruel, always strikes through a man's noble's promises. Duryodhana's dependence. As the years passed, Duryodhana leaned ever more upon Karna. Bhishma scorned him, Drona doubted him, even Shakuni plotted with self-interest, but Karna was steadfast. When others warned Duryodhana of the dangers of arrogance, Karna fed his pride with loyalty. You shall be emperor of Bharatavarsha, Karna declared. I, your friend, shall stand at your side, and none, not Arjuna, not Krishna, not even fate itself shall stand against us. These words bound Duryodhana's heart in steel. Without Karna, his courage faltered. With Karna, he strode as if destiny itself obeyed him. The Pandavas in exile. Meanwhile, the Pandavas endured hardship in the forests, yet their suffering forged them stronger. Arjuna journeyed across the earth, gaining divine weapons from the gods themselves. Bhima grew fiercer, Yudhishthira wiser, Draupadi more resolute. News of their strength reached Hastinapura, and Karna listened in silence. Every tale of Arjuna's conquests set fire in his chest. If he grows stronger, then I too must rise, for in the end, it shall be him or me. The rivalry was no longer of men, but of fate itself. Krishna's arrival. It was then that Krishna, the dark blue prince of Dwarka, entered the stage more fully. His wisdom, his power, his mysterious aura, he was unlike any other. Krishna saw the currents of destiny swirling. He knew the war was inevitable, yet still he sought peace, balance, dharma. When he looked upon Karna, he did not see merely Duryodhana's friend. He saw Kunti's firstborn, the hidden son of Surya, a man walking the edge of greatness and ruin. But the time had not yet come to reveal that truth. The gathering storm. 13 years passed. The exile neared its end. The Pandavas prepared to return and claim their rightful throne. But Duryodhana would not yield. I shall not give them even a needle point of land, he swore. Karna stood at his side, bow in hand. Then war it shall be, he said. Across the land, conch shells of kings echoed as alliances were forged. Some sided with the Pandavas, others with Duryodhana. Armies marched, banners rose, the air itself seemed heavy with the promise of battle. And in the midst of it all stood Karna, warrior, king, friend, and pawn of fate, ready to face the trial for which he had been born. The road to Kurukshetra had begun. Krishna's mission of peace. The drums of war thundered across Aryavarta. Armies gathered like storm clouds. Yet still Krishna, ever the guardian of Dharma, sought peace. He traveled to Hastinapura as an emissary of the Pandavas, standing in the Kuru court, his presence radiant and commanding. Return to them their rightful share, Krishna urged. Do not stain this land with the blood of brothers. Even 5 villages will suffice for the sons of Pandu. But do not deny them all, for that path leads only to ruin. Bhishma bowed his head, Vidura agreed, even Drona wavered, but Duryodhana's heart was iron. Not even a needle point of land will I grant them. He roared. At his side, Karna stood, silent but unyielding. His loyalty to Duryodhana chained him, though deep within, doubts gnawed. Krishna's eyes turned to Karna, piercing him with divine sight. You are greater than all these princes, he said softly. You are not the son of a charioteer. You are the son of Kunti, born of Surya himself. The court gasped. Duryodhana looked at Karna in shock. But Karna only clenched his fists, his soul ablaze. Not here, Krishna continued. Meet me, and I shall tell you more. Not here, Krishna continued. Meet me, and I shall tell you more. The secret of birth. Later, by the banks of the Ganga, Krishna revealed the truth in full. Karna, you are Kunti's firstborn. Before Yudhishthira, before Bhima, before Arjuna you were her son, born of Surya's blessing. Abandoned at birth, raised by Adhiratha and Radha, you have lived in the shadows of fate. But know this, you are the eldest Pandava. The throne is yours by right. Return to your brothers, and the war shall end before it begins. Arjuna will bow before you. Draupadi shall be yours, for by Dharma she is your queen. You shall rule as emperor, and the world will sing your name as the greatest of kings. The offer shone like the sun itself: honor, kingdom, wife, brothers, and peace. Yet Karna's heart twisted with torment. Karna's turmoil. He saw before him two roads. One, to embrace his true lineage, to stand with the Pandavas, to claim the throne that was rightfully his. The other, to remain with Duryodhana, the only man who had ever lifted him from shame to glory, who had stood by him when the world mocked his birth. Tears burned in Karna's eyes as he spoke. I owe Duryodhana everything. When all others scorned me, he raised me as a king, as a friend. Can I now betray him for the sake of blood revealed too late? No, Krishna. My loyalty is not for sale, not even by destiny itself. Krishna's voice grew solemn. Then know this, Karna, you fight on the side of Adharma. The wheel of fate shall crush all who stand in its path, and though your valor is unmatched, you shall fall not to weakness, but to destiny itself. Karna bowed his head. So be it. If death is the price of loyalty, I accept it. Kunti's plea. Not long after, Kunti herself came to Karna at sunrise, when he stood in worship of Surya. Her voice trembled with both guilt and love. My son, my firstborn, I abandoned you, but fate has revealed the truth. Come with me now. Join your brothers. Be their shield, not their foe. Do not let this war consume you. Karna's heart nearly broke. He longed to call her mother, to fall at her feet and accept the bond denied him since birth. But the chains of loyalty bound tighter than blood. Lady Kunti, he said, his voice heavy, you are indeed my mother, and I honor you. But I cannot betray Duryodhana. He gave me what you could not name, a kingdom, and love when I was despised. I shall fight for him till death. Kunti wept, clinging to hope. Then promise me this: spare my sons. Do not kill them all. Karna placed his hand upon hers. I give you my word, 4 of your sons shall live. Only Arjuna is mine to slay, for between us the gods themselves have decreed enmity. Against him alone shall I unleash my full might. Kunti departed, her heart torn. She had gained a son, yet lost him again to fate. The choice sealed. From that day forward, Karna's path was set. He knew his true identity. He knew the war would claim him. He knew even victory would taste of ashes. Yet he chose loyalty, not birthright. Honor, not destiny. The choice of destiny had been made, and on that choice, the fate of empires would turn. The battlefield of Kurukshetra. The day dawned crimson over Kurukshetra. The earth shook beneath the tread of countless armies. Conch shells and war drums thundered, banners whipped in the wind, and the plain became a sea of chariots, horses, elephants, and warriors eager for glory or death. This was no mere battle. It was the war of ages, the Mahabharata, the great war that would decide the fate of Bharatavarsha. At the head of the Kaurava host stood Bhishma, the grandsire, commander of Duryodhana's armies. His banner of the silver palm tree shone like a beacon of ancient might. Karna's eagerness. Karna, armored and radiant, his bow Vijaya strung, yearned to join the fray. Let me ride forth, he urged Duryodhana. Let me strike down the Pandavas and fulfill my vow. Why waste time? The war is here. Destiny waits for none. But Bhishma turned upon him with stern eyes. You, Karna, shall not fight while I command, Bhishma declared. Your arrogance has often stung me, and I do not trust your loyalty above your pride. Stand aside until I fall. Only then may you take the field. The words cut deeper than any blade. Karna's knuckles whitened on his bow. Rage burned in his chest. Have I not given my life to Duryodhana's cause? He demanded. Am I not sworn to slay Arjuna? Yet you forbid me, as though I were unworthy. Bhishma's voice was iron. I forbid you, not for want of valor, but for want of humility. Until I am fallen, you shall remain in the shadows. Duryodhana's plea. Duryodhana, torn between his general and his friend, sought to ease the wound. Karna, bear with this, he said softly. The grandsire is old and stubborn. When he is gone, the army shall be yours. Hold fast, my brother, for your day will come. Karna forced a bitter smile. For you, Duryodhana, I shall endure. But let the heavens bear witness when Bhishma falls. I shall unleash my full wrath. Then Arjuna shall know the fire of Karna unchained. The war without Karna. Thus began the war without Karna. For 10 long days, Bhishma led the Kaurava armies. His arrows fell like rain, felling thousands. Warriors trembled before his might, yet still the Pandavas held firm. Karna stood aside, his heart a storm. Each clash of steel was salt on his pride. Each tale of Arjuna's valor was a dagger in his soul. He could not fight, he could not prove himself, he could not fulfill his vow. And yet, fate was waiting, the fall of Bhishma. At last, on the 10th day, the moment came. Shikhandi, born of destiny, stood before Bhishma. Arjuna loosed his arrows, striking the grandsire again and again, until his body became a bed of shafts. The mighty Bhishma fell, but did not die. Granted the boon of choosing his moment of death, he lay upon the arrows, awaiting the solstice. The Kaurava army wept, but Karna's heart blazed like a rising sun. At last, the chains were broken. At last, his time had come. Karna enters the war. On the 11th day, Karna entered the field of Kurukshetra. The earth trembled as his chariot rolled forth, driven by Shalya, king of Madha. His golden armor gleamed, his bow Vijay sang, and his presence alone filled both armies with awe. The Pandavas watched with grim resolve. Arjuna's eyes narrowed. At last, he comes, he said. And Krishna, the charioteer of Arjuna, spoke softly. Yes, the war has truly begun. The 11th day, with Bhishma fallen, Karna entered the war. The field of Kurukshetra roared as his golden chariot rolled forward, Shalya of Madha holding the reins. Vijaya, the bow of the gods, thundered in his hands. The Kaurava soldiers raised a cry. Karna has come. And the Pandava ranks shuddered, for they knew the fiercest of Duryodhana's allies had finally been unleashed. Karna's fury. Karna loosed his arrows like lightning. Each shaft struck true, felling elephants, shattering chariots, scattering soldiers in terror. Against Bhima he clashed, each blow shaking the earth. Against Satyaki he raged, each strike like a storm. Kings fell before him, their banners trampled beneath his wheels. The Kauravas rejoiced, their spirits lifted. At last, their champion was upon the field. Bhima's clash. Bhima, the son of Vayu, charged Karna with mace and fury. Karna, he roared, face me, if you dare. The two clashed with thunderous might. Karna's arrows pierced Bhima's armor, drawing blood. Bhima's strength shook Karna's chariot, nearly overturning it. But fate intervened. Each time Karna seemed to gain the upper hand, destiny pulled him back. Bhima escaped, not through his own skill alone, but through the web of fate protecting the Pandavas. Karna's rage deepened. I swore to Kunti that 4 of her sons would live. But this one, oh, how my heart burns to end him now. Yet he restrained himself, bound by his promise. Arjuna's shadow? Though Karna slew countless warriors, his eyes sought only one Arjuna. But each day, Krishna steered Arjuna away from direct combat with Karna. It was not yet time. The gods themselves held back their duel, for destiny demanded it be the climax of the war. So Karna waited, his fury simmering, his vow burning like fire within. The 12th and 13th days. On the 12th day, Karna struck down foes in their hundreds, spreading terror across the Pandava ranks. On the 13th day came the infamous Chakravyuha. Abhimanyu, son of Arjuna, entered the wheel formation of Drona. Trapped, he fought with the valor of a lion, and Karna was among those who surrounded him. Abhimanyu's death. Abhimanyu, barely 16, wielded his bow with divine skill. He shattered Karna's bow not once, but twice, driving him back in fury. Yet numbers overwhelmed the boy. Drona, Ashwathama, Kripa, and others joined the assault, and Karna striking from the side cut down Abhimanyu's bowstring, leaving him defenseless. The son of Arjuna fell, beaten and slain. The Pandavas howled in grief and rage. The world itself seemed to mourn. And Karna, though he had fought with honor, though he had not struck the final blow, he carried the stain of that day forever upon his name. The storm gathers. With Abhimanyu's death, the Pandavas swore vengeance. Arjuna, his heart aflame, swore an oath before all. Before this war ends, Jayadratha, who barred my son's rescue, shall die by my hand, or I shall enter the fire myself. And Karna, watching, knew the storm was tightening. The war was no longer about kingdoms. It was personal. It was destiny. And soon, very soon, his vow against Arjuna would be tested. Arjuna's oath. The battlefield still wept for Abhimanyu. The Pandavas mourned the fallen boy, and Arjuna's heart blazed with grief and fury. Before all, he swore, by sunset tomorrow, Jayadratha shall die by my hand. If I fail, I will cast myself into the fire. The vow shook the heavens. All warriors knew, if Jayadratha lived, Arjuna himself would perish. The fate of the war hung in balance. Duryodhana's command. Duryodhana, hearing Arjuna's oath, trembled with both fear and hope. If Arjuna could be stopped, the war might yet be won. He turned to Karna. Friend, today rests upon you. Protect Jayadratha with your life. Without you, we are undone. Karna clasped his hand upon Duryodhana's. As long as Karna stands, Jayadratha shall not fall. And so the Kauravas formed a fortress around the Sindhu king, with Karna as its blazing heart. The 14th day, dawn broke. Arjuna mounted his chariot, Krishna at the reins, determination carved upon his face. From sunrise to sunset, he fought like a god of destruction. Chariots shattered, elephants toppled, kings fell beneath his arrows. None could stand before him, but Karna was waiting. Karna versus Arjuna's path. Again and again, Arjuna tried to break through the Kaurava lines, and again Karna blocked his way. Their arrows clashed midair like thunderbolts. Karna's shafts struck with the force of mountains, shattering Arjuna's armor, cutting the flag from his chariot. But Arjuna answered with equal fury, piercing Karna's skin, staining his golden mail with blood. The warriors of both sides watched in awe. Never had the world seen such a duel, two suns blazing against one another, each refusing to set. Yet still Krishna steered Arjuna onward. Not yet, he whispered. Your hour with Karna will come. Today, Jayadratha is your target. And so the duel was broken, though not ended. The race against the sun. The hours slipped away. The sun dipped westward. The shadows lengthened. Panic gripped the Pandavas as the horizon drew near. Still Karna held the line, unyielding. Still Jayadratha lived, shielded by his friend's vow. But Krishna, master of time itself, raised his illusion. A veil of darkness spread across the sky, and the Kauravas rejoiced. The sun has set, they cried. Arjuna laid down his bow, despairing. But Krishna whispered, look again. The veil lifted. The sun still burned in the sky. And in that instant of shock, Arjuna drew Gandiva and loosed a blazing arrow. Jayadratha's head flew across the field, falling into his father's lap far away. The vow was fulfilled. The Pandavas roared in triumph. Karna's anguish. Karna's heart broke in fury. Despite his valor, despite all his strength, Jayadratha had fallen. Fate had mocked his promise, as it always mocked him. He struck his chest with his fist, crying to the heavens, why does destiny mock me so? Why does it turn my victories to ashes? Let the gods hear me. Arjuna shall not leave this war alive. But deep inside, he already knew. The wheels of fate were turning, and he was caught fast within them. The night of terror, the sun had set, yet the war raged on. Against the codes of Dharma, battle continued through the night. Fires blazed, torches lit the field, and shadows danced across Kurukshetra like spirits of doom. In the darkness, a new terror rose, the mighty Ghatotkacha, son of Bhima, half-demon and wielder of Rakshasa magic. He grew colossal, towering above elephants, his laughter shaking the earth. He conjured illusions, armies of demons, phantom beasts, rivers of fire that shattered the courage of the Kauravas. Elephants stampeded, horses screamed, soldiers fled in terror. Even Karna, stalwart as he was, struggled against the storm of sorcery. Duryodhana's desperation. Duryodhana's chariot shook as Ghatotkacha hurled a mountain against him. He cried out to Karna, friend, save me, the Rakshasa devours us all. Karna loosed arrows that split the mountain to dust, but still Ghatotkacha returned, fiercer each time, his strength rising with the night. Duryodhana clutched Karna's arm. If you fail, I am lost. The war is lost, do something, anything. The Shakti weapon, within Karna's heart burned both hope and dread. He carried one weapon none could withstand, the Vasava Shakti, a divine spear gifted by Indra himself, father of Arjuna. It shone with the brilliance of the sun, unstoppable once released. But he had sworn to use it only once, and he had reserved it for Arjuna. Now he faced an agonizing choice. Use it upon Ghatotkacha, saving Duryodhana but losing his one chance to slay Arjuna. Or hold it back and watch his friend destroyed before his eyes. Loyalty bound him. He could not let Duryodhana fall. Very well, Karna whispered, let destiny laugh at me again. He raised the Shakti spear. It blazed like a star across the night, piercing the darkness, striking Ghatotkacha full in the chest. The demons fall. For a moment, silence fell. Then Ghatotkacha laughed a booming, terrible laugh that echoed across the field. As he died, he grew vast, his body swelling to colossal size. With his last breath, he fell crashing upon the Kaurava ranks, crushing thousands beneath him. His death was a victory for the Pandavas, a ruinous blow to the Kauravas. And Karna stood pale, his hands trembling, his heart breaking. Karna's despair. He had saved Duryodhana. He had slain the demon. But in doing so, he had lost his greatest weapon. The one weapon that could have slain Arjuna was gone, spent upon another. In the Pandava camp, Krishna smiled grimly. The war is won, he whispered to Arjuna. For tonight Karna has slain not Ghatotkacha, but himself. The fall of Drona. After Bhishma, Drona had led the Kaurava armies with relentless mastery. But on the 15th day, he fell, broken by grief and trickery when he was told that his son Ashwathama was dead. The Kaurava camp was plunged into despair. Leader after leader had been struck down. Duryodhana's face was pale as ash. But then he turned to Karna. Friend, only you remain. Be my commander now. The army is yours. At last, Karna's hour had come. Karna as general. Karna accepted the command with fire in his heart. No more hesitation. No more restraint. By the blood I have shed, by the vows I have sworn, I shall carve a path of thunder through the Pandavas. And so he did. On the 16th day, Karna blazed across Kurukshetra like a comet of destruction. His arrows struck down thousands. Chariots splintered, elephants toppled, heroes fell before him. Even Yudhishthira could not withstand his might. Karna struck him down and sent him reeling from the field, wounded and humiliated. The Kauravas roared with renewed hope. Their champion stood unchallenged. Karna versus Bhima. Bhima came against him, roaring with fury. The two clashed with arrows and spears, thunder shaking the skies. Karna pierced Bhima's armor, staining his chest with blood. But again, he remembered his vow to Kunti not to kill her son save Arjuna. With terrible mercy, Karna drove Bhima back but spared his life. Go, son of Vayu, he cried, live today, for death shall come to you only when I allow it. The shadow of Arjuna. Yet even in his victories, Karna's eyes sought only Arjuna. Each triumph was hollow without facing him. Each conquest was incomplete without fulfilling his oath. At last, on the evening of the 16th day, Krishna spoke to Arjuna. Tomorrow, the end shall come. You must face him. The two of you were born for this hour, the night before the duel. That night, Karna stood alone by his chariot, staring at the stars. He thought of Radha and Adhiratha, who had raised him with love. He thought of Parashurama, who had cursed him. He thought of Kunti, who had begged him to change sides. He thought of Duryodhana, his friend, his only true ally. And above all, he thought of Arjuna, his rival, his brother, his mirror. A strange calm came over him. He knew what tomorrow would bring. The dawn of the 17th day. The sun rose blood-red upon Kurukshetra. Karna mounted his chariot, Shalya holding the reins. His golden armor gleamed, his bow Vijaya thundered. Across the field, Arjuna rose to meet him, Krishna at the reins. Gandiva sang in his hands. The armies drew back. The world seemed to hold its breath. The duel of destinies was about to begin. The field falls silent. On the 17th day of war, all eyes turned to one place, the field between Arjuna and Karna. The world itself seemed to hush. The cries of soldiers faded, the clash of weapons stilled, as if fate demanded silence for what was to come. On one side, Arjuna, son of Indra, wielding Gandiva, with Krishna guiding his chariot. On the other, Karna, son of Surya, wielding Vijaya, with Shalya as his charioteer. The two greatest archers of their age faced one another at last. The duel begins. Arrows flew like rain, like meteors, like the wrath of gods. Each shaft shattered in midair, sparks of fire falling to the earth. Karna's strength shook the heavens. Arjuna's precision pierced the impossible. The earth itself trembled beneath their fury. The oceans roared. The gods leaned down from their heavens to watch. Karna ascended. At first, Karna pressed the advantage. His arrows cut Arjuna's armor to shreds, tore the flag from his chariot, and even stunned Krishna himself. See, Karna cried to the sky, not even Arjuna can withstand me. Today the world shall know who is the greatest warrior of Bharata. For a moment, Arjuna staggered. Krishna urged him on. Remember your vows, Partha. Remember Abhimanyu. Fight. The wheel sinks. Then, as destiny had long decreed, Karna's chariot wheel sank into the blood-soaked earth. Again and again, he urged Shalya to lift it, but it would not budge. Karna leapt down, struggling to free the wheel. His armor gleamed, his hand strained against the mud. He turned to Arjuna, raising his hand. Hold, Partha. It is against Dharma to strike a warrior who is disarmed, who struggles with his chariot. Grant me this pause, let me set my wheel, and then we shall fight as equals. Krishna's command, but Krishna's eyes blazed with fire. Arjuna, do not hesitate. Remember Draupadi's humiliation. Remember Abhimanyu, butchered when disarmed. Did Karna cry Dharma then? Strike now, before fate slips away. Arjuna hesitated only a heartbeat. Then Gundiva sang. The end of Karna. The arrow blazed like lightning, straight and true. It struck Karna in the chest, piercing through his heart. For an instant, time itself seemed to stop. Karna staggered, his bow falling from his hands. His eyes lifted to the heavens. He thought of Surya, his divine father. He thought of Kundi, who would weep in silence. He thought of Radha, who had raised him with love. He thought of Duryodhana, his only true friend. And then he fell, his golden body striking the earth like a fallen sun. The gods weep, the sky thunders. The earth trembled. Surya hid his face behind clouds, refusing to watch his sons fall. Thus died Karna, the noble yet cursed, the generous yet mocked, the loyal yet doomed. Hero and outcast, brother and foe, king and pauper, his tale ended upon the field of Kurukshetra. The Kauravas shattered. When Karna fell, a cry of despair swept through the Kaurava ranks. Their mightiest champion, their last hope, lay lifeless upon the ground. Duryodhana wept openly, striking his chest, his voice breaking. My brother, my friend, my soul, you have left me alone. Without you, how can I face the Pandavas? How can I face this world? The Kaurava army, seeing Karna gone, lost its heart. Their spirit withered like grass beneath flame. The Pandavas victorious, yet unknowing. Arjuna lowered Gandiva, trembling. He had fulfilled his vow, yet his heart was heavy. For in Karna's fall, he felt no triumph, only sorrow and exhaustion. None of the Pandavas yet knew the truth that Karna was their elder brother, son of Kundi, abandoned at birth. And so they rejoiced in victory without understanding the price. Kundi's revelation. When the war was over and Duryodhana lay slain, Kundi came to her surviving sons. Her eyes were swollen with grief, her voice heavy with secrets long kept. My children, she said, you have fought bravely. But know this, the warrior you hated most, the warrior who fell by Arjuna's hand, he was my firstborn. He was your brother. The Pandavas staggered, as if struck. Arjuna wept, collapsing to the earth. Bhima roared in anguish. Yudhishthira covered his face in silence. Why? They cried. Why did you keep this from us? Had we known, we would never have fought him. But Kundi only wept. I was a girl, alone, afraid. I abandoned him. The sin is mine, Yudhishthira's curse. From that day, Yudhishthira's heart carried a burden he could never lay down. If I, knowing nothing, have slain my own brother, then let the world bear witness. Henceforth, no lie shall ever pass my lips. And yet, because of my mother's secret, women shall never again be able to keep one unbroken. For the grief of Karna shall echo forever. The legacy of Karna. Karna was gone, yet his name lived on. To the world, he became the symbol of generosity, the man who gave even when he had nothing. To his foes, he was a rival unmatched. To his mother, a wound that never healed. To Duryodhana, a brother truer than blood. And to history, he was the tragic hero, the sun-born warrior who fought for loyalty over birthright and lost. The eternal flame, they laid his body upon the earth, the sun shining dimly through the clouds. Some said the gods themselves wept. Some said the earth shook with sorrow. But in the silence of his end, Karna's soul rose toward the heavens, a spark returning to the great fire from which it came. And thus ended the tale of Karna, outcast and king, cursed and blessed, rival and brother, a man who gave all and received only sorrow. Yet even in his fall, he blazed with such light that his name endures, eternal as the sun. The fall of the sunborn. And so, with the fall of Karna, the battlefield of Kurukshetra was never the same again. The man mocked as a charioteer's son, cursed at every turn, and denied his birthright, yet who rose to kingship by sheer will and loyalty, met his end not in disgrace, but in the brilliance of battle. History will always debate, was Karna greater than Arjuna? Was he a victim of fate, or of his own choices? Did loyalty blind him, or did loyalty make him noble? But one truth stands eternal. Karna's life was a song of tragedy and glory, of giving and losing, of rising and falling. He fought not only his enemies, but destiny itself, and though destiny claimed him, his legend burned brighter than the sun that fathered him. His death shattered Duryodhana's heart. His revelation broke the Pandava's spirits, and his memory carved itself into the soul of Bharatavarsha. Karna is not remembered merely as a warrior. He is remembered as the eternal giver, the loyal friend, the tragic hero who stood tall even as the world turned against him. And that is why, centuries later, we still speak his name in awe and sorrow. Friends, this concludes part 2 of the life of Karna, the road to Kurukshetra. But the story doesn't end here, because every fall leaves behind echoes, lessons, and a legacy that shapes what comes after. If this journey moved you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so more seekers of epic tales can join us as we continue unraveling the Mahabharata through Karna's eyes. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you see him as hero, villain, or something beyond both? Because one thing is certain, Karna may have fallen on the battlefield, but in the hearts of those who remember, the sun-born warrior still rises.